Hi, welcome to another video. So, if you have been following the channel, you know that I have been obsessed with two things lately. One is GLM-5, which I genuinely believe is the best open model ever released. And two is the KingMode system prompt, which I have been using to basically lobotomize the lazy parts of every model I touch. But I never combined the two properly. And honestly, I should have done it sooner, because the results are kind of insane. Today, I want to show you exactly how to pair GLM-5 with the KingMode prompt, and why this specific combo might be the most powerful free coding setup in 2026. Let me explain why this pairing makes so much sense. If you watched my GLM-5 review, you know that the ZAI team literally said their goal was to build the first open-source system architect model. It is a 744 billion parameter mixture of experts with 40 billion active in a pass. It already thinks like an architect. It already plans. It already asks follow-up questions when your prompt is vague. It scored #1 on my agentic leaderboard. It beat Opus 4.6 on the Svelte Kanban, the Nuxt Stack Overflow clone, the Expo movie tracker, basically everything. It is also currently fully free in Kilo code as well, which makes it even more usable for free. So, you might be thinking, why does this model even need KingMode? It is already smart. And you are right. It is smart. But smart and disciplined are two different things. Here is what I noticed after a week of heavy use. GLM-5 is incredible at long-running tasks. It will go for 40 minutes, even 3 hours on a Atari app like I showed in my last video. But sometimes, especially on medium complexity tasks, it overthinks. The ZAI team even acknowledged this. They said the model tries to be too good on simpler tasks, which actually hurts performance. KingMode fixes this. It doesn't make the model smarter. It makes the model more focused. The Ultrathink trigger in KingMode tells the model, stop, assess the complexity, decide whether this needs deep architectural reasoning or a quick execution, and then commit. It adds structure to the model's natural intelligence. And there is another thing. GLM-5 is not great at chat or small talk. It is trained heavily on code and system architecture, so it sometimes gives you unnecessarily verbose explanations when you just want code. KingMode's Zero Fluff directive kills that instantly. It strips away the "I hope this helps" filler and forces the model to give you output, not conversation. So, think of it like this. GLM-5 is a brilliant architect who sometimes talks too much and occasionally overthinks small jobs. KingMode is the project manager who walks in and says, focus, deliver, no fluff. You can combine it for free with Kilo CLI as well, and it will work really well. You can just set it up as a rule and then use it in Kilo. But I'll be configuring it with Verdent. Now, here is why Verdent is the perfect place to run this combo. If you just paste KingMode into a regular chatbot or even a single agent editor, you get a better model. That is what I showed in the GLM 4.7 Ultra video. It works, but you are still limited to one task at a time. Verdent changes that equation completely. Verdent lets you run multiple agents in parallel, each with their own isolated Git worktree. That means I can have one GLM-5 agent doing backend architecture while another GLM-5 agent handles the front end, and they are not stepping on each other's toes. They each get the full KingMode context. They each run independently, and they each produce senior-level code. You basically go from having one brilliant architect to having an entire team of brilliant architects. Now, let me walk you through the setup because it is surprisingly simple. First, Open Verdent. Go to your model settings and select GLM-5. Second, you need to inject the KingMode prompt. In Verdent, you can add this to your project rules or the system instructions area. Just paste the full KingMode prompt in there. Now, here is a pro tip. You don't need to add the front-end design skill this time. I used to combine KingMode with the front-end skill for GLM 4.7 because that model needed help with design taste. GLM-5 is different. Since it is a system architect model, it is already better at structured code and layout logic. If you overload it with too many style constraints, it actually conflicts with its own reasoning. Keep the rules lean. KingMode alone is enough for GLM-5. If you want a specific aesthetic, just describe it in your prompt instead of injecting an entire design system. Third, and this is the important part, use the Ultrathink keyword at the start of your prompts. This is what actually activates the deep reasoning behavior from KingMode. Without it, the model will still follow the zero fluff rules, but it won't do the full architectural breakdown. All right, now let me show you this in action. I have Verdent deck open. I am going to create a new project. For this demo, I am building a full-stack SaaS dashboard with authentication, a database layer, and a real-time analytics view. Now, in a normal workflow, you would type one big prompt and wait. But we are going to do this differently. I am spinning up Agent 1. I type Ultrathink. Set up a Supabase backend for a SaaS analytics dashboard. Create the database schema with users, events, and sessions tables. Implement row-level security policies and create the edge functions for data ingestion. I hit enter. Agent 1 starts working. Now I am not waiting. I click New Agent in the sidebar. Agent 2. I type Ultrathink. Initialize a Next.js14 project with Tailwind. Build the main dashboard layout with a sidebar navigation, a top metrics bar showing active users, total events, and average session duration, and a main content area with a real-time line chart. I hit run on that too. Now, watch what happens. Both agents are working simultaneously. Agent 1, because of the Ultrathink trigger, doesn't just dump SQL. It pauses. It reasons about the data relationships. It says, since we need real-time analytics, we should use Supabase real-time subscriptions on the events table. Row-level security needs to filter by organization ID to support multi-tenancy. It is architecting the system before writing a single line of code. This is the difference. Without KingMode, GLM-5 would still be good, but it might jump into the SQL first and think about security later. The Ultrathink trigger forces it to front-load the thinking. Meanwhile, Agent 2 is setting up the front end, and because it also has the KingMode context, it is not making a generic dashboard. It is considering component structure, it is setting up proper error boundaries, and it is using memoization on the chart components because it knows real-time data means frequent re-renders. In about 2 minutes, both agents are done. I look at the diffs in Verdent's diff lens. The backend schema is clean. The RLS policies are actually correct, which is impressive because most models mess up Supabase security policies. The front end is well structured with proper separation of concerns. But here is where it gets really interesting. I spin up a third agent. I type Ultrathink. Review the current code base. The backend is in the Supabase folder, and the front end is in the app folder. Connect them. Create a server action to fetch the analytics data and wire it into the dashboard components. Add proper error handling and loading states. This third agent reads both the backend and front-end code, understands the relationship because GLM-5 is genuinely great at grasping full architectures now, and it connects everything. It even adds a custom hook for the real-time subscription that I didn't ask for, but that makes total sense given the setup. The whole thing, backend, frontend, and integration, took me about 5 minutes of actual interaction time. The agents did the rest. Now let me tell you why this is better than what I showed with GLM 4.7. With GLM 4.7, I had to combine KingMode and the front-end skill to get good results. That model was great at visuals, but weak at architecture. So, I needed 2 crutches. GLM-5 only needs 1. KingMode alone unlocks the model's full potential because the architectural intelligence is already built in. The model already plans. It already debugs. It already asks follow-up questions. KingMode just removes the noise and forces the model to be consistent about it. And with Verdent's parallel agents, you multiply that effect. Instead of one focused architect, you get a whole team. Each agent runs the same disciplined workflow. Each agent has isolated context. And you are the project manager, just assigning tasks and reviewing the output. I also tried this on a back-end heavy task without any front-end at all. I asked one agent to build a Go-based CLI tool for processing large JSON files, and another agent to write the test suite for it. GLM-5 with KingMode, running in parallel through Verdent, gave me the CLI tool and a comprehensive test suite in about 3 minutes. The test suite actually caught an edge case in the JSON parser that the first agent missed, and because they were in separate worktrees, there were no conflicts. That is the kind of productivity boost that usually requires an actual team. Now, a few things to keep in mind. GLM-5 is a reasoning model with effort levels. I generally keep the reasoning effort at medium for most tasks and switch to high for really complex architecture decisions. If you combine high reasoning effort with the Ultrathink trigger from KingMode, the model will think very deeply, but it will also be slower. For most coding tasks, medium effort plus Ultrathink is the sweet spot. Also, remember what I said about GLM-5 not being great with simple chat. If you are using Verdent just to ask a quick question, don't use the Ultrathink prefix. Just ask normally. KingMode's zero fluff rules will still apply, but you won't trigger the full architectural reasoning for a one-liner. And regarding cost, GLM-5 is going to be a bit more expensive than GLM 4.7 because it is almost double the parameters. But the coding plans from ZA, I should still be at a similar price point. Even if the API cost goes up a bit, you are getting Opus level or better output for a fraction of what Anthropic charges. And the model will be open weights, which is awesome. So, to summarize the workflow, GLM-5 for intelligence, KingMode for discipline, Verdent for orchestration. You set up the KingMode prompt once in your project rules. You prefix your complex prompts with Ultrathink, and you let Verdent's parallel agents handle the multitasking. It effectively turns a cheap open model into a full development team. I have put the KingMode prompt link in the description. You just paste it into your Verdent project rules, and you are good to go. It takes 10 seconds, but the difference in output quality is night and day. Overall, it's pretty cool. Anyway, share your thoughts below and subscribe to the channel. You can also donate via Super Thanks option or join the channel as well and get some perks. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.